I really feel like once people start giving back and they start getting involved with something, even just a baby step, you start to feel that you are being rewarded so much more than what you're giving to someone else. I feel like sometimes it's just almost selfish because it feels so good. It makes me feel good to be a part of that. And it makes me feel good to see other people feeling that. And you see new volunteers. It takes one step to get involved somewhere, and you'll feel what difference you make. And imagine if we all got to feel that. I think that's the way it's supposed to be.
What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others.
In case you missed it,
one of the ways we spark change here at iSpark Change is through being thankful and grateful. Because the reality is we all have a lot to be thankful for and grateful for. We may not always realize it in the moment, but there are always things to be. As one friend,
available everywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Welcome back to Impact Heroes. Today we have the pleasure of speaking to our latest iSpark Change social impact hero, and she is a special one indeed. Our guest today has a servant mindset and a big heart. She believes that it's a privilege to serve those who once served us, and that seniors who are lonely, hungry, and often forgotten deserve to live out their lives with independence and dignity. She's been through emotionally exhausting times in her own life and believes that nobody should have to go through what she went through. She's honest, driven, compassionate, and an expert in fundraising and building relationships within the community. She has a degree in communications and is a member of the board of directors for Meals on Wheels across all of the great big state of Texas. So please welcome the authentic, bold, passionate, and amazing president and CEO of Meals on Wheels, Montgomery County, Carrie Watkins. Carrie, welcome to the iSpark Change podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes, I'm glad to have you on. I have to say that when I saw it was in that little local community impact, I think it was in the community impact. Yeah, I think that's where it was. When I saw that you had become, the new CEO, and I was like, hey, I know about Meals on Wheels. I've done some work over there. And saw that, I was like, oh, cool. I have to have her on the show. So,
well, thank you.
Glad we were able to get a schedule.
Yes.
So
I remember seeing you in there picking up bags to help you with that.
Yeah, and the race. So there was not a race this year, like there was last year.
Anymore. It's very sad. We were disappointed to have to shut that one down because it was just struggling to have a good return on investment. So.
Yeah, those things are a challenge. I mean, years ago, I put together the Try for Fun at the YMCA when it was still around, and did that for 4 years. And it's a ton of work. It's a ton of, thankless work, and, hopefully it has a good outcome. So I totally get that. I totally get that. But well, let's dive in. So we have you on the program because we see you as someone that spreads positive change, someone whose actions have a positive impact on humanity and create that ripple effect that go far and beyond the initial act. And someone by our definition that we call a social impact hero. So we'll get to what that means throughout the conversation, but I have to ask you the first question that we ask all our guests. Do you see yourself as a hero?
No, not really. That was made me feel really good when you said all that. But no, I just think this is part of, the fabric of me and who I am. And, we all have our gifts to give back. It's just part of, I think, what you're supposed to do.
Well, that's a very humble, way to, express the work that you're doing. So I think it would be beneficial for our audience and, and for me, because I don't really know either, is, you don't just wake up one day and then all of a sudden you're doing that work. So, I talked about, having a servant's heart and, that desire to help others. So has that always been there, or, share like where does that come from? How did you get started and everything, and where does that come from?
Well, where it comes from without any of the story behind it is watching my parents' example. You know, when I was growing up, my parents were volunteering and sitting on boards and doing all kinds of things to give back. And it's, you know, it wasn't even something we talked about. It was just, that was the example that I saw. And that's just what felt normal to me. But I also, you know, was volunteering for an organization, and then a lady was like, "Oh, I think you should interview to be on the board for Meals on Wheels." And because you love old people, we all know you talk about your grandfather all the time, and you love to feed people. And I just think that would be a good fit. And as I was reflecting on her asking me that, and if I really wanted to go that direction, this was in 2015. I remembered I had all these memories coming back of delivering meals with my grandparents in my little hometown in Missouri. So it just kind of felt like the right thing to do, and joined the board. And from there, here I am. I don't know how that happens. I didn't set out to work at a nonprofit when I was getting my degree or going back to work after staying at home with my kids for many years. Yeah. But it seems like it just felt like the right thing. And I just feel like I was kind of led this way. So.
Yeah. And the way I look at it, and thank you for sharing that, the way I look at it is that, you know, depending on what someone's beliefs are, you know, whether it's God or the universe or, you know, destiny or what have you, is that things tend to fall in place the way they're meant to fall into place. And so it's no accident, you know, in my eyes, that you had that foundation, you know, from a young age of, you know, service and or specifically, you know, delivering food. So then when the opportunity presented itself, that, you know, it seemed like a natural thing to do, I guess. At least that's what it sounds like, you know, that it wasn't anything of a stretch. And I've had a lot of individuals on this program that run nonprofits or, you know, work in nonprofits, and I mean, from small to massive, I mean, to, you know, huge ones across the world. And they all, I'd say every single one of them has that similar, you know, service mindset that came from a very young age, right? That it wasn't just like, oh, I was looking for a job, and so I, you know, decided to go apply at this nonprofit. Like, it, you know, there is some story back there where that seed was planted, if you will. So it's something that you said your grandparents, your parents, right? It was just something that was natural in how you do. Is that something, I'm curious, you know, with you being a mom, you said spending that time, was that something that you instilled in your kids, and something that was a part of your life before the work you were doing?
Absolutely. That was one of the things that, as a mom, you know, there's certain things that you know that you can do right, and hopefully, you know, it hits, but as long as you know, put it out there. But I volunteer with my kids all the time. And it kind of got to be over the years, you know, once I got involved with Meals on Wheels, they were, you know, maybe as middle schoolers, kind of voluntold, we say. They didn't really have a choice. That I'd drag them to work with me if they weren't in school or on the weekends or something, and we'd be volunteering. But, you know, through high school, they ended up kind of taking some ownership over that themselves and putting together a club that they were hopeful to get seniors in high school to support the seniors that we serve, which I thought was super cool. And then it was the best day ever when my boys were graduating last May, and one of them was the salutatorian. So he got to give a speech, which, since I majored in speeches, I was super excited about. And I was begging him to, like, don't you want to practice with me? But he didn't. He never would take me up on that. So I got to hear it for the first time when everybody in the stadium heard it. And he talked about the example that his mom set for him, and in giving back to the community. Oh my gosh, I was just stopping because, like, oh, it worked, you know, something really stuck. Because I think that's just planting the seeds with kids is how you take it forward. You know, someday we're going to be seniors, I hope. And then who's going to take care of us?
Yeah, exactly. And kids are, kids are funny. They don't like to, at least teenagers, they don't like to give you those signs that, what you're saying matters, or that it's important, or that, they believe it. And
maybe the opposite even.
Maybe the opposite even. Yeah, of course. And then you see it demonstrated in their behavior later, or you get to hear something like that, beautiful in a speech, in front of, a bunch of people to hear the fruits of your labor, so to speak, them manifest, right. And how, how it's impacted his life. So yeah, fantastic story. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah. So in our world, HERO is an acronym. Honors their purpose, engages their audience in their mission, ripples their message to others to spread positive change, and then opens their heart to the world. So what would you define for yourself is your purpose? Or do you know, or how would you define what your purpose is?
Like my purpose, my whole purpose, not just my Meals on Wheels purpose?
Yeah, both. Yeah, actually both would be great.
Well, my whole purpose, I don't know. I think about that pretty frequently, just kind of trying to stay on track and look at where I am now as an empty nester, which that sounds weird, but I did, I kind of feel like I will just be led in the right direction if I follow my gut and follow my heart. In terms of Meals on Wheels, just since that's where I have landed, being at the helm now is because, I've gone through a lot of positions there over the years, starting as a volunteer and then kind of working my way through different parts of it. But now I feel a tremendous amount of purpose to continue this organization and have, looking forward, like how do we sustain this very special nonprofit in our county? Because when your funding can be pulled, when it's through federal grants and you have donations, from people and, politics and all these things the economy impacts how people are able to give. I try to look forward at like, what can we put into place to make sure that we can be here to continue helping people for many years to come. I don't want to leave us in a position where, there's certain things that if that happens, you could fold pretty quickly. Especially when you're talking about funding that's, through grants and stuff, because you don't have a whole lot of control over those existing, from year to year. So
yeah. How long has it been around?
The Meals on Wheels in Montgomery County has been there for 51 years.
51 years. Okay. So 51 years strong. I mean, that's
51 years strong. Yeah. So let's not mess it up now.
Yeah. And I know that can be a difficult road to hoe with the, the grants and the, and fundraising and everything. I mean, you are an expert fundraiser, as I said in your intro. So that's got to help.
Yeah. I love fundraising. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm really a salesman at heart, right? If I was to really go do what I'm good at, it's just do some kind of sales. I just use it to do something for people in need rather than for a corporation. Yeah.
And to connect with people. I think a big part of, fundraising or sales is connection. And, I started my career in sales years ago, and I'm fundraising myself at, one point or another. That when you connect with people and they feel that passion and they feel, that purpose, and they understand, why you're doing what you do or why the organization does what it does, then that's where they can connect. And then, that's where they see that they can make an impact and, be a part of it in some way, right? If that's financial or volunteering or whatever it looks like for them.
Right.
And so if you're able to make that connection, which you clearly are, then you're going to be successful at it. So I have no doubt that it will continue on, in your control, your stead for a while, as long as you're there.
I have an awesome team for sure. I couldn't do it without them. There's no question, but we have a phenomenal team. I'm really, really proud of our organization. I bring people in for tours all the time. Always happy to show people around Meals on Wheels because they are always shocked at what they see, and they're surprised at all the things we do that they didn't realize was something that Meals on Wheels did. Yeah. But I'm always so proud to introduce everybody to our staff because it feels like a family, they really do. I care about each and every person that's there. on a personal level, they're just great people, and they're all there serving as well. They're all there. They have their own reasons. If you ask them, why do you work here? They all have a very specific reason what keeps them there, whether it's a mother or a grandparent or, a veteran, just lots of different reasons. But
yeah. Is the team, are they all employed, or they volunteer, a mixture of both, or how big is the team?
Well, for employees, our team is, around probably 47-ish people.
That's a lot.
It is. It takes a lot. We have our own kitchen. So we have 3 chefs, and we probably have about 6 people that work in the kitchen, and then lots of volunteers that help in there on a regular basis. And then, we have an entire transportation department. People don't seem to realize that those buses they see roaming around that says Meals on Wheels on it, those are not full of food, they're full of people.
Wow.
So that is, a big piece of what we do also. So, and then we have hundreds of volunteers. We count on probably around 300 volunteers a week who commit to delivering a route of, the home delivered meals. We have about 1,000 clients on our home delivered meal service, and that's about 100 routes throughout the county, and it's all volunteer driven. We do not pay anybody to be driving food around, other than like staff that has to fill in on when somebody can't show up. But
yeah. I mean, I know when I've done some routes, I didn't realize that there were that many. I mean, maybe I was just looking at a small segment of it, and the ones that I could do, but wow, I had no idea. There's just wow, that's huge. That's
Montgomery County is big. This is 1,000 square miles, the county.
Yeah.
So, and there's a huge need. We have a wait list all the time. We're not meeting all of the need because we have to have money, really, to be quite frank. It takes funding. When we put a senior on our service, we put them on there for the rest of their lives, unless they choose to be taken off for whatever reason. They're there for life. So we have to be really careful when we're looking at adding somebody on. We have to be able to take care of them financially. We have to be able to do that we don't know that number, Yeah. It's an unknown. It could be 6 months. It could be 10 years, you never know. So.
Well, you're definitely doing a good service, engaging the audience in the mission, and rippling that message to others to spread positive change. I mean, clearly on a big basis. So what would you say has been outside of the fundraising, outside of the fundraising or the financial side, what would you say has been the biggest challenge that you faced in, running the organization? Or
I would say probably there's 2 challenges that I think are just going to be continuous challenges, and that's following all the rules of grants and making sure we are compliant with them. There's lots of different ones, and there's a lot of, red tape with that. We're grateful to have them, for sure. We couldn't function without them, but you have to be really careful that you stay in compliance with whatever their rules are. And the other is just people, is making sure our team is a full team, and that they're feeling valued, and that they, are happy to come to work. It's really important to me that they feel like it's a great place to be. So, it's a nonprofit. We're serving people. We're just doing good stuff. So it shouldn't be a really stressful place. I want them to enjoy their job and feel fulfilled by it, and then go home a happy person. So they're happy with their families and they're healthier. I think all the way around. So that's kind of taking care of my people is number one, and very challenging for sure.
Yeah, especially with a team of 47. That's a good size number, and any number of people. They're in coaching hundreds of people over the past 9 years, and working with thousands of people over the past 30 years. They are the most rewarding, and they can be the most frustrating, right? And then they're oftentimes, as you described, Carrie, the most challenging. Just because, with people come all the intricacies and, and differences and, and highs and lows and emotions and it's just, you never know what you're going to get kind of thing, right? It's like the Forrest Gump saying. You never know what you're going to get with people, not just with life. So
yeah, I've gotten now where if one of the VPs of something comes in and immediately shuts my door, I'm like, oh no, is this good or bad?
yeah.
What are you coming in with?
Hopefully more of the good variety, right? Hopefully
there's we have a lot of great things happening. Right? I mean, every day there's amazing things that we feel very blessed about, for sure. So
yeah. Well, outside of those challenges, what would you say is the thing that really, gets you motivated, gets you inspired, the most rewarding on a regular basis?
My favorite is giving people tours. I love
what you described earlier.
I love doing that. I absolutely love it because I love sharing what we do. I wish more people knew. I want everybody to come in, because once you're in there, it's such a different experience, and it's a way to connect with that person or group of people on a really, kind of a kind of humanity, like that level of humanity is just seeing eye to eye, and that we all are here and want to help people, and we're all connected by that. So it's really fun to share things about us and let them smell the food is cooking, and they can see how that's all going down, and they meet our staff and everybody's, smiling and having a good time. That's my favorite thing. And then if I can get money out of them, I'm really excited.
yeah. It's like a double bonus, right?
It's a double bonus for sure.
Yeah, I know. And this may go back to your volunteer days, but I know when I did volunteering, just the interacting with all the different people, on the route, interacting with all the different people and their gratitude and their just the different things that their challenges that they're dealing with on their own right. Absolutely. And, you can play some small part in helping them with something, right? And they just, invite you into their home and, I can think of a lot of different examples that come to mind,
Yeah, that is absolutely, it is an experience that you just can't really grasp it until you do it. And so all those groups that come in, we have them go deliver meals to our seniors. We hold routes that are around our building so they can actually go, and that's the heart and soul of what we're doing, right? Yeah. And to meet them, to walk up to a door and see that it's already kind of cracked open because they're waiting for you to get there. Or, sometimes they're sad and they just start kind of sharing like, oh, I'm really glad to see you because I'm having a really hard day and I feel really lonely. Or maybe they're like, oh, they want to tell you about their grandkids, or, they just want someone to talk to, really more than the meal. They really just want that human connection. So we all share that, we all felt that, like when COVID hit, that feeling that isolation that we all had, that doesn't go away for them. We all got out of it and we were like, thank goodness we can leave our houses now. These people are all homebound. They don't get to do that. So.
Yeah. And then, the fact that you're a big part of that for so many people. So how many meals are given on like a daily basis? So our kitchen probably puts out about 1,700 meals a day. Wow. So that's for our clients that we deliver meals to, but we also provide the meals. There's congregate dining centers throughout the county where seniors who are able to get out and drive, they can go there to like whatever senior center and socialize with other seniors. Sometimes they have, activities and whatever. Those are, the Woodlands has one over kind of by the library, and then Conroe, there's several. So we provide the food for those. We don't serve it and we're not responsible for those centers, but we do provide the food for it. So that's included in all that. It's a lot of food. That's a lot. That's a big number, on a weekly and monthly basis, annual basis. Yeah. Right. It's a lot. Yeah. And all of our transportation people, that's a whole separate, really it's unduplicated clients. It's different clients than our meal clients. It doesn't have to be, but it just mostly is. Yeah. So you're serving on a weekly basis. Thousands upon, thousands of people. Yeah. Right? We get about 5,200 phone calls a month for rides. Jeez.
So that's really because it's people who are disabled. So our buses are all ADA compliant. So they have a lift, and they can get a wheelchair on there or a scooter, but we're the only transportation that's free that covers the whole county that has ADA compliant buses. We are all they have. And so most of the rides we give are for medical appointments, like life-saving appointments, like dialysis 3 times a week. We have lots of clients on dialysis that we pick them up at their home. It's like curb to curb. We go right to their house, take them where they're going and take them home. It's not like these people can call an Uber. You can't necessarily get your wheelchair in an Uber. So
and the cost, right? And the cost.
Oh, the cost is, it's an expensive part for sure, but yeah. Yeah.
And that's a part that, I wasn't even, I know I've seen those, but like you said, you don't kind of put 2 and 2 together, just thinking about that. And that's not something I was ever involved in. So,
well, we were trying to do a better job of what they look like. So we rewrapped some of them. We had some corporations that, you can donate $50,000 and have your logo on one of those buses or vans. And so we have several companies who have done that. And so when we're rewrapping them, we're making sure it says senior rides really big.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's more clear.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not supposed to be a secret.
Well, a couple more things as we, near the end here. Where can people, connect to learn more about how they can support or, go do a tour with you? Or how can they, learn more about Meals on Wheels and, what's going on?
Probably the easiest way is just to go to our website. It's www.mowmc.org. So all the Meals on Wheels in the country are divided by county. So we only serve Montgomery County. So that's our special little name. Meals on, we shorten it because that's so long.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's an easy way. You can always email me as well. It's just Carrie, Carrie @mowmc.org. So it's pretty easy. We have lots of people who can help you kind of get engaged in the way that you want, whether that's through volunteering, delivering meals, or volunteering, just helping out in the building. If you want to have a corporate like volunteer day, team building type thing, we have opportunities of things you can volunteer to do at your own house or at your own church or your own school or what, that can help us. So we have lots of ways. Every little bit counts and every bit helps, and we're grateful for all of it. So we welcome anybody to come and hang out with us.
Well, we'll put that in the show notes and make sure that people know, how they can connect and support and everything. So one of the things we talk about on the show here, Carrie, are spark moments. And these moments are times in life where our actions or the actions of another have that spark that continues to have a ripple effect far and beyond that initial spark moment. Mm-hmm. Right. So share a story of a time where either someone impacted you or you impacted someone else, or maybe through your work there, that you didn't know it was a spark moment at that moment, but then you were able to see, down the road that led to, things on a bigger scale.
Well, probably one of my, favorite stories, I guess, is I always love to talk about my friend Deb, who had breast cancer, and she shared that with me many years ago. She had been, I knew her in, like middle school, and I didn't know she had it. But when she finally shared that with me, she ended up needing to, she lived in Missouri. She ended up needing to come to Texas for treatments at MD Anderson. So she would live with my family and I for, like a week at a time, about every 8 weeks. And she did this for years. So she would just be part of our family and then go down for her appointments or her treatments or whatever it happened to be. And she, it just really was just hearing her perspective on that, seeing her attitude. She just was living life. She was such a bright, shining star and hilarious. I can still hear her laugh in my head. But that really, I felt helpless, listening to her. I felt like, how this is unfair. I don't know. How can I help her other than what I'm doing to help her, have a place to stay and stuff. But I just decided to make it bigger and joined a committee in the Pink. I've been on that for a long time. And I ended up being asked to co-chair that a long time ago, maybe 2012 and 13, I think. And I was put with another gal who was also asked to co-chair. We didn't really know each other. She had not been on the committee very long. And so here we get plunked down in front of each other and like, here, you're going to basically be best friends for 2 years because it's a huge job to chair that committee. And she became one of my very best friends. She got to know Deb. They became friends. And now both of them have been taken by cancer. And I just, I think it's those types of things. You just do something little, like I'm just going to go volunteer here. And then you end up meeting someone who becomes your very best friend and helped me through some awful things, and it's just like, it's just those little things. That was absolutely a spark, just get to know them. And now their families support Meals on Wheels, and it's, we're just all still connected. They're just not with us.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for sharing that. It's a great example of that ripple effect that still continues, right? It still continues because, their families are supporting, and the memories and everything about those times that you spent with them. So Beautiful example of a spark moment. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So one final question here, because our goal at iSpark Change is to positively impact 1 billion people with our upcoming social impact social media platform and, through our community. And we know we can't do it alone. We know we need the help of impactful leaders like yourself to help show others the way, because a lot of people feel, as I once did, that they're too small to make a difference. Mm-hmm. So we value your thoughts and opinions as a social impact hero. So I want you to peer into the future, peer down the road, and answer the question, what can the world become if everyone starts having that servant heart and, wanting to go out and help others?
That would be amazing. I think that I sometimes dream about just nonprofits just in our county. I think sometimes, what if we all just connected and we were all just one great big nonprofit that could just spread, just through different arms of different things that we would each cover, seniors or kids or whatever people are doing. But I just think it could be the world would just be a much happier, that sounds kind of cliche, but I really feel like once people start giving back and they start getting involved with something, even just a baby step, you start to feel that you are being rewarded so much more, than what you're giving to someone else. It really, I feel like sometimes it's just almost selfish because it feels so good. It makes me feel good to be a part of that. And it makes me feel good to see other people feeling that. And you see new volunteers or new employees. We have 2 new employees that just started, and they both have all this passion oozing out of them already. It takes you just take that one step to get involved somewhere, and you'll feel what difference you make. And imagine if we all got to feel that. I think that's the way it's supposed to be.
I agree, because it's one of those secrets that shouldn't be a secret, that, when you go and you do that type of work, it's so gratifying. You feel so incredible. You're getting way more out of it, as you said, than the person you're, giving to or supporting, or, every face, to use your example of, when you would go and the door would be cracked and you go inside and you help them, and just what you get from that exchange, it's way more than they get from the exchange. Every time I just felt that way. I was like, like you said, it seems selfish or unfair. And I don't understand how more people don't know that or feel it or get that. And with iSpark Change, one of our goals is to be that central hub. That's why that social impact social media platform, that central hub where everybody is in one place. So while it's not one huge organization, everybody is in that central place that, the Meals on Wheels in Montgomery County, they can see what this other group is doing over here, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit, or, they can see the good that these people are doing over here, and they can learn about you, and they can, if there's someone that wants to support you, or someone that wants to volunteer, or someone that wants to, admire your work from afar, right? From all the way across the world, or to learn and then get ideas, from what you're doing, or you get ideas from someone else. And that's what we're building, because there isn't such a thing, right? There isn't such a thing. All nonprofits, as you know, as I've seen, they're all, run independent, and they're all, trying to, make it as best as they can, and oftentimes struggling and need support. And so if we're, you can do more when everyone supports one another.
Yeah. I almost feel like sometimes people who are not already doing something, like they don't have a cause that they're connected to, that maybe they just haven't found their place yet. Maybe they haven't even looked. Maybe it didn't even cross their mind yet. But I think sometimes it's just having the courage to do that first step. And when you don't know what to expect, I think people have a little bit of anxiety, like, oh, this is, that's annoying. That's on my calendar. I don't feel like doing that today. Or I'm nervous because I don't know how am I going to drive around? How am I going to get to these seniors' houses? There's just, I think the unexpected holds people back sometimes. And I think that one step, literally one step with whoever it is, you'll learn very quickly that it's just a way better. It's for your own personal well-being. I think it just will fill you up and make you a happier person and make you very grateful for what you have.
Yeah, indeed. Well, very well said. Well, thank you for taking time to share your heart and wisdom with our audience today, Carrie. You came in, you over-delivered as I expected. Your desire to be impactful is evident, and you're filled with passion, humility, and you lead with a heart of service and gratitude, which tells me you will continue to have success, not only at Meals on Wheels, but also in all facets of life. And this is only the beginning of your time as a social impact hero.
Well, thank you. I feel like it's a privilege that you asked me to do this, and I'm happy to be here and happy to help send out sparks for you.
Well, very glad you are. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, Impact Heroes, it's our stories that connect us all, and we loved hearing Carrie's today. Carrie Watkins, you're not only an inspiring and amazing human being, you truly are an iSpark Change social impact hero. We'll see you all next time.
Do you want Rick to speak at your event? Here is what others have to say.
Did not know his story, and it was so inspirational, and his presence on stage, his authenticity was just incredible.
Performance made me feel some type of way. My name is Craig Siegel.
If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, hire Rick. I promise you this, you will not be disappointed.
Visit rickcornelis.com to book him today.
Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the iSpark Change podcast.